Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is How is the hammer of the whole earth broken? This is based off of a video that was sent to me by a couple of brothers, and the video is called Germany Warns Europe to Brace for a Reality in which US is no longer a world power. And that was done by Dabu 777, and they pretty much in that video are discussing which Angela Merkel was throwing up the that satanic hand sign, but they're pretty much saying how America is no longer a superpower. They're pretty much losing their grip, and the reason why is because of prophecy first and foremost, and second of all, these international bankers have used America for all she was worth, and pretty much now they're going to what they're going to do is bring in this so-called New World Order, which is going to be an order of the world, not just an order of a country or a specific continent. It's going to pretty much be an order that's going to take over the whole planet. And this is scriptural, it's biblical, and we're witnessing these prophecies coming to life as we speak, and as it states in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, where it says that at the end it shall speak and not lie. So we're witnessing the prophecy right now speaking. And at one time, America still has power militarily, but it's losing its grip on the world financially, which means militarily, because once you don't have the funds to pay your soldiers, you pretty much don't have anyone to protect, your ventures that you've used this military to gather. And that's what happened to Rome. They had to keep devaluing the currency to be able to pay the soldiers, and eventually a lot of those soldiers defected. They had a lot of different soldiers from different nationalities, different regions, a lot of Germanic soldiers, and eventually they took the tactics of the Roman military and turned around and fought against ancient Rome. Went and taught it back to their countrymen, and they used those same tactics against Rome. When you check out the history, a lot of those Germanic soldiers actually turned against against Rome, which today would be known as modern day America. Now, in prophecy, the scriptures, when we read Revelation 13, which we're going to get, this beast that came back up into power, which was the whole of the Edomite empires, all 7 heads, including the 8th head, which would be America. They fell at one point, and they came back into power. And when they came back into power, they went around the world deceiving the world. And in time, that union of this beast has created a major military power on the planet, a major military force known as America, which is the EU and NATO. And when it comes to the EU and NATO, they pretty much are the allies of America. All right, America being a part of NATO. Now let's read this real quick. This is Revelation 13:4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him? And this beast represents America, EU, and NATO. It represents NATO and the EU, but America is a part of NATO, and the military force of NATO is really backed by the superpower of America. But now these same allies that were once in league with America are starting to see the demise and the fall of this empire that pretty much had their back. And the reason why they weren't able to make war with the beast is because America is is considered a superpower that backs up all of those allies, and they in turn have militaries, and they were all joined together. But now those same European nations that make up the seven heads and the 10 horns are slowly but surely pulling away from America. That's why the name of the lesson is, how is the hammer of the whole earth broken down? So now we're going to go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and we're going to read a verse above what we read, and then we're going to go from there. Yeah, I'm just going straight to the point. Jeremiah 50 and 22, a sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. And the sound of battle is coming from the prophecies of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And it's also coming from all of these little back and forth, dialogues on the economy, and on how the nations, don't feel that they're getting a fair shake in dealing with America. They're always getting the shaft, they're always getting the raw end of the deal, so to speak. And they're starting to pull away from America. All right, it says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Now, I looked up this word cut asunder earlier. This is an offline strong, so I don't know if it's going to go into depth as the blue letter did. But nevertheless, we're going to look it up, and we're going to get a couple of words in there that cement this lesson. And Lord's will, this lesson will be edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakodash. This is Jeremiah 50 and 23. The word cut asunder is gadai. Gadai. It says to fell a tree. When you have a tree, to fell a tree means to cut it down. It says to destroy anything, cut asunder, in sunder, down, off, hewn down. So America is about to be cut down. But prior to her being cut down, she's being first and foremost taken down by the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai through the prophets. And these nations are slowly but surely backing away. And that's where you see a lot of those nations coming together and creating certain unions and certain trades amongst themselves using a different currency than the dollar, because this place pretty much is finished. These international bankers pretty much used America to get this so-called New World Order. And then when the New World Order is in full bloom in their eyes, they really don't need America anymore because they'll have the whole world. So the other word is broken, which the word broken goes to the Hebrew word shabar, which means to burst, literally or figuratively, break down, off, in pieces, up, broken, hearted, bring to the birth, crush, destroy, hurt, quench, quiet, tear. So bottom line is to break down. And ultimately the breakdown is dealing with the destruction of America. But right now, the power structure of this society, of this country, America, does not hold the same influence that it did years ago. Let's go from there. We'll get back to Jeremiah 50, but let's go from there to the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and 3. Because it doesn't hold the same influence that it did at one time. At one time, all nations were afraid of America. At one time, all nations revered America. They looked up to America. They looked at America as being this country that was helping the world, through humanitarian ways and all of this stuff. You know, they view this place as a place of success, which the scriptures call the golden city. But as time progresses, as America goes into these different countries, makes these different agreements with them, signs these different contracts, these nations are finding out that they're getting the short end of the stick every time. And America is the one that's benefiting, which really, the ones that are really benefiting from it, from the whole thing, are these international bankers that are using America and its military might to gather the wealth of the world unto themselves. So this is Isaiah chapter 14, and we're going to start at verse 3. It says, "And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve." So this is the Lord speaking to us through the mouth of Isaiah, saying that when the Lord is about to deliver us from our captivity, from these curses, from these nations, especially Esau, that have served themselves of us, that this is what's going to be taking place in the midst of all of this. What's going to be going down when the Lord is getting ready to deliver us is this: that thou shalt take up a proverb against the king of Babylon. So we are taking this proverb up in our mouth by prophecy and telling the king of Babylon something. And this is how we know we're definitely at the end of this man's rulership, and we're almost in the kingdom. It says, "And say," this is what we're going to be saying, "how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased?" So how did this great oppressor of the world cease? The scriptures say, when you cease to spoil, you shall be spoiled. And when you cease to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Because your payback, your judgment is coming soon, you Edomites, beginning with you international bankers. That's why you're going to be the very first slaves. Your very first slaves are going to be these so-called elite that are alive. And I believe that these elites are in their bunkers right now. And they've been in there probably since the end of 2019 into the beginning of 2020, because they know that something is coming down that they're cooking up, which is the Most High cooking up, you know. And they are in there in all their, you know, so-called safety, you know, because they know that they're about to release some shit into the world, which is going to fulfill the prophecies of the Most High on the left-hand side. Because now they're talking about a second wave of this coronavirus. They're talking about the vaccine. And we know how these devils have gone into different countries, Africa and other countries, and spread AIDS and other diseases, syphilis and other diseases by way of these vaccines in these different countries. So when the people line up, some vaccines might actually help people, so-called, you know, they might actually have something good in them, which probably the in the nose will take, and through that they could possibly use that as a deception for the rest of the people to take it, but the rest of the stuff could probably be tainted with the virus or something worse. So now that people's immune systems are broken down because they're constantly wearing these masks and inhaling CO2 and so-called social distancing, this can open up a serious pandemic worldwide, you know, that they've been planning for a while anyway. But all these nations are starting to see this. But now your power is falling. You're ceasing from your power. And when you go to this word, the golden city ceased, it says in the margin, it says exactress of gold, because that's what this devil has been. They've used their power to pretty much put the world under a feudal state, under a taxation state. That's why when people try to get ahead, they can't, because they're constantly being taxed on all levels. And the money that they make on their jobs is not enough or sufficient for them to live. So they have to get a second job. You know, they have to make ends meet. And they have no time to really pay attention to what's really going on, because they're so worried about working. They got me working day and night. Inside joke, Michael Jackson. And they won't be able to have enough energy to keep an eye on what's happening. And especially now that the majority of people are out of work. And most people right now don't want to go back to work because they're getting that stimulus check, which is paying them a whole lot more than what they were getting when they were on the job, busting their ass day in and day out. So they got something coming down the pike. So this place was called the Exactress of Gold, and it was a deception for the people because they thought that this was a place where you went to for prosperity, you know, and people did they did prosper to a certain degree, but really the ones that prospered are the other nations. Meanwhile, Jake is still in the ghettos, in the barrios, and you know, in the lowest parts of the city, you know, suffering, in poverty, homeless, you know, because that is a part of the curses. So read it on. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the ruler. So the power of this place has been broken now. That's why in Isaiah, I believe it speaks about the broken scepter or something like that, the broken staff of Egypt. And people lean on it. Because if you have something that's broken, you try to lean on it. Let's say you have a staff and the staff is broken and you got stuff sticking out of it. You're trying to hold on to it. You're going to prick yourself. You know? So this place, people can no longer lean on America for financial help or for help, period. Because this place needs help. That's why it says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, you know? Take balm for her, see if she may be healed, but she won't be able to be healed because the Most High himself broke that scepter. And eventually he will destroy this place. And that scripture, how is the hammer of the whole earth broken? That's going to be fully fulfilled once the nuclear missiles and the lasers from the chariot totally eviscerate this place. So verse 6 says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. So these devils are constantly on people's neck with a continual stroke, meaning that they don't back off. And the margin says a stroke without removing, meaning that it's a constant beating. You know, they don't let up, and that beating is coming by way of what? The financial system that they set up, that is constantly beating people down, along with other things. But that's one of the main beat downs that the world is getting from America, is financially. That's why do you think you had the Shanghai Corporation and other the BRICS nations and other nations trying to get away from the American dollar and create something among themselves so that they can trade among themselves and get a fair shake? But America doesn't want that. The international bankers don't want that, because they're trying to monopolize the economy of the world. So it goes on to say, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth, because there's not going to be anyone to stop your persecution. You're not going to be able to get out of this situation. Not by your witches, not by your warlocks, not by your monthly prognosticators, not by any of your witches, not by any of your spells that you've cast, any of your inaugurations. There's nothing that you are able to do anymore to continue to rule. The rule that you have now is nothing more than a mirage, a smoke and mirrors, because you thought that the Most High was on your side and you thought that you were going to rule forever, that your houses are going to continue to all generations. But no, you're under the illusion of ruling, because the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he's about to take you down completely. So how is the hammer of the whole earth broken? It says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing, because once your devil ass goes down, the whole world is going to be at peace once and for all. Let's go from there to the book of Proverbs. 29th chapter. And these nations are seeing your bullshit. That's why I said the nations have drunken of a wine, therefore the nations are mad. They're bugged out, but they're also pissed off too. Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. And we know damn well that the righteous are not in authority because people are not rejoicing as a whole. So if the righteous are not in authority, who's in authority? The wicked. And when we look upon the planet Earth, who's ruling the earth today? Esau, the so-called white man. So they are the wicked. And the Bible identifies them as the wicked. So it says, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So the question to ask yourself, is the world in a state of bliss, in a state of joyfulness, or is it in a state of mourning? And if you have your head screwed on right, you will have to come to the conclusion that the world is in a state of mourning. So that means, according to the scripture, that the people that are ruling it are the wicked. And what happens to the wicked? They will eventually be destroyed. Matter of fact, I was going to get this other precept, but let's go to Job, because this is it's the way it's said here in Job is beautiful. Job chapter 20 verse 3. I have I'm sorry, let me go to 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short? Wait a minute, there's a precept there for short. And the precept there is from the Hebrew from near. In other words, like they say, why don't you find a short pier and take a long walk? Meaning you go to a pier that's not that long. It could be probably 12 feet long. And then you're taking a walk of a mile long on a short pier. And what's going to happen after that 12 feet? You're going to fall into the water. So that's what the Lord is saying, that they are, these devils triumphing is short. It's from near. In other words, they're only going to go so far because the Lord has determined their days. The Lord has set their bounds that they can't pass. Look back in history. All of those different nations that ruled in history, they had a certain amount of time that they ruled, but they also had a certain border that they ruled. And they could, once they conquered a certain amount of land, notice they couldn't go any further than that. And they would lose some of those strongholds and they gain them back and lose them and gain them back. But very rarely would they ever expand anymore because that was the bounds that were set for them. Now these devils have what? The whole of the world. And now their rulership is about to be taken out. So it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, because they have their space stations up there, their satellites. So they have mounted up to heaven. They have their planes and their helicopters and all that, jets. It says, and his head reached unto the clouds, which they have. Let me see something real quick. It says, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Yeah, because eventually you Edomites, you're going to be rounded up after you serve your hardcore slavery. You're going to be rounded up and burnt up, and no one's ever going to see you ever again on a planet looking like your pasty self. He shall fly away as a dream. You're going to be like a bad nightmare that when you wake up from it, oh shit, that was only a dream. It says, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. Yeah, just like a horrible nightmare that you have. When you wake up, you're drenched in sweat, but then you realize it was just a nightmare. That's how you're gonna be. You're gonna be gone, because you have been a nightmare. Esau is the nightmare of the earth. That's a title for a lesson right there. If anybody would need a lesson to go into, Esau is the nightmare of the earth. It says, the eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. Because they're not going to hold sway or rulership ever on the earth again. It tells us that also in the book of Isaiah, Salakia, Isaiah, the 14th chapter. It says, neither shall his place behold him anymore. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. And you will restore your goods. The goods that you're going to restore are really our goods and the stuff that you stole from the planet, from all peoples. You're going to restore all of that back. Because as you read on down, it says, according to his substance shall the restitution be. And you got a lot to pay for because you have the whole earth. You have all the gold, all the silver, all the precious stones, you know, for the most part. You have all the riches, all the resources, all the best parts of the land, you know, because that was a part of your blessing through your sword. And now you're about to go down and you're about to vomit all of those riches back up. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, because going all the way back to even before the inception of America, going all the way back to the Greeks and the Romans and the French, you know, and the Spanish and Germania Major and Germania Minor in Britain, all of those, and America. So you're full of those sins from your youth because you have never been punished for that. You were brought down in certain empires, but you came back. But you were never punished for those crimes. But now your sentencing is happening right now. The Lord is sentencing you by his words through the mouth of his prophets, and eventually the judgment will come. It says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asps within him, because what you've done is nothing but poison. That's why when we read about go to now ye rich men, it says that the rust of them shall witness against you. And what is that rust, or underhanded way that you got it? The ill-gotten gains. And we know, pursuant to scriptures, if you get something underhandedly, what's going to happen? You're going to have to transfer that from yourself to the proper owners. So you're going to be, you're not only going to go down, but you're going to suffer the shame of having to return all of those goods back to their rightful owners. How about that? How do you like them apples? It says, he have swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yeah, and you're going to vomit them all up again. So you think now that you're at a point where you have everything, you're collapsing the economy, you're moving towards depopulation, you know, to bring down the numbers of the earth so that you can establish your so-called New World Order. But it's going to fail. You're only going to go so far with it. It says, the Most High shall cast him out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asps, and the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers of the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. Yeah, because you're not going to enjoy your so-called New World Order. You've been plotting and planning, you know, and doing all different types of things to get your so-called New World Order off the ground, but it's only going to go so far. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. In other words, you're not going to be able to enjoy the benefits of it. Because when you're chewing food, what is the purpose of chewing food? Yes, chewing the food because it tastes good, but for it to go down and be digested and all of the nutrients out of it be extracted to help the body with those nutrients. But all of the riches that you have, you're not going to be able to enjoy the benefits of them because you're going to have to give all that back. Man, and that's what the Lord said, that he has set you in a slippery way. Here it is in your mind, you're thinking that you're going to rule forever and that you're just going to continue on and that you'll never go down. But meanwhile, the Heavenly Father up in the heavens, he's laughing at you because he sees that your day is coming. And he sees that you're going to have to turn all of that back. Can you imagine the look on these devils' faces and the embarrassment that they're going to suffer when they have to come back and return all of those riches back to the people they stole it from, and how they're going to have to pay for all of the wickedness that they've done to the people of the Lord, the Israelites, and even including the other nations? Do you know how embarrassing that's going to be? Just like, you know, you have a professional thief that goes into a store and he's always stealing stuff, never gets caught, but then he gets caught. They have his picture plastered all over the newspapers, all over the television. You know how he got caught, and what a shame. You know, he's going to suffer because the people that were around him believed that he really got all those riches by hard work and all that, and they find out what he really was doing, how ashamed he was going to be. Well, that's even a million times, 1 trillion times more. These international bankers going to suffer shame once they have to turn back all of the stuff that they stole. So it goes on to say, according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. All right, so now let's jump from there. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 14. Let's see where we left off at. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller has come up against us. Yeah, so you're not going to have the opportunity to cut down any more of these trees, because through your greed, you're destroying the earth. Because trees take in carbon monoxide. I don't know, I'm not sure if it's carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Right now, I know I'm getting the two confused, but they take, I believe it's carbon monoxide, and the trees inhale the carbon monoxide and let off oxygen. We inhale oxygen and let off carbon monoxide. So the Most High, when he created it as an ecosystem, something that works as a synergy, and everything works with each other. But this devil goes totally opposite. He goes against the grain, you know, and that's why the earth is in a condition that it's in, because this devil that's ruling is destroying the earth. So when this devil goes down, even the trees of the fields are going to be happy. Even the animals sometimes, you know, are crying out to the Lord because they're suffering. The trees, because the trees are living. The grass and the flowers and all, that's all living. And the earth is living. There's a certain vibration in the earth. Why do you think the earth brings forth life? Because the earth is alive. And all of these things are crying out to the Lord. So when these devils go down, everything is going to rejoice. Everything is going to be in perfect harmony. So verse 9 in Isaiah 14, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Now this is for you wacky-tacky Christians out there. There is a margin here for the word hell. And the number there for the margin of the word hell is the number 5, right? And the number 5 for the word hell means or the grave. See? Or the grave. Because in other words, when you look at the word hell simply means grave. It doesn't mean a place where you go and burn forever. That is a hoax, a cunningly devised fable, a Jewish fable that was set up as we read in the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary, where it says that the rabbinic writers after the Old Testament, they started using the Valley of Hinnom as hell itself. At first they said the entrance to hell, but then they said hell itself, because that was all a cunningly devised fable, and it was perpetrated, and it was really pushed and used heavily by the Roman Catholic Church to make the people afraid, so that they can give up their lands and their monies and stuff like that, to enrich the church and keep the people poor and under the spell of the Roman Catholic Church. All right. Read on. Salaki, I had to say that. It says, hell from beneath, or the grave from beneath, is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, because you're going down. You're going to be in a dead state, like we were in a dead state. You're going to be valley of dry bones, so to speak. But the only difference is you're not going to get sinew and none of that put on you. You're going to go from the valley of the dry bones to your grave through a magnificent bonfire that's going to happen after you serve your captivity. Even all the chief ones of the earth. And the word chief ones, when you look at the precept, it says leaders or great goats, meaning the leaders of these nations are going to rejoice when you go down. It says, it stirs up the dead for thee, which the dead are these nations, even all the chief ones of the earth. So all these nations are going to be stirred up against you. Right now they're being stirred up against you to come against you, but when the kingdom is established, you know, after you're destroyed, they're going to come against you too. It says, it hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Yeah, because all of these kings of these nations have had a hand in helping America. So they're going to get fucked up too. But in the kingdom, they're going to kick you in the ass too. Just like you're going to have a lot of these Israelites that are Sambos, you know, that are sellouts, that once they figure out that you really are the devil and that they trusted in you and they invested all their time in you, they're going to turn against you. They're going to be whipping your ass the worst. As Elder Pastor made that observation years ago. You motherfucker, I believed in you, you bastard. You made me believe. You know, they're going to kick you like that Pakistani kicked that transvestite in the chest. When that transvestite was dancing, they said it was a girl. He had a bottle of Fanta in his hand, a big ass bottle of Fanta. I don't know why the fuck he was drinking that. And you just see him coming out from behind the camera and a big, long ass foot, you know, long ass leg with a foot pounded that piece of shit in the chest, and that thing went flying. You know, and then they said, no, this is Pakistan. No, this is Sparta. You know, the brother Barack Obama sent me the video, you know, and you read the comments, people are snapping all over the video. But that's how you're going to be, man. You're going to be stamped out of the earth, you devils. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Yeah. Did you lose your power? Did you become as weak as we are? Because now these nations, not only do they have the backing of other superpowers, but they also have missiles themselves, nuclear missiles. They have the nuclear capability to defend themselves. And that's why you have to back up off them. And that's a part of the reason, besides the economy, that you're losing your power. How is the hammer of the whole earth broken down? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Yeah, because you are a very proud people. And that pride of yours is what's deceived you to move forward with your agenda. You know? Because you have the scriptures. You have your so-called scholars and your so-called Bible, your so-called theologians that search and research the Bible and search to see the prophecy, to see if these things are so. And you know you're going down. But that pride of yours is keeping you afloat. Just like in ancient Egypt, the Pharaoh wanted to let Israel go after the first plague, but the Lord put the spirit upon him and hardened his heart so that he can continue to stand against the Most High. And that's what you devils are doing now. The Most High is putting the spirit on you to stand against him, just like he did to Egypt. So when he threw the Pharaoh down in his armies in Egypt and delivered us from there, it rang an echo throughout the whole earth at the time. And the people were like amazed and afraid. So the Most High is doing the same thing to you now. And he's going to do the same thing to your armies. They're going to be afraid when they see those gigantic ships, especially the one Yahweh Shai is coming on with the angels and the magnificence, and they're going to want to run, but the spirit is going to get into them to fight so that the Most High can get busy, because no one wants to fight somebody that's running. They want some kind of challenge when they're fighting. You know, they want to feel some of the blows, and they want to, you know, get mad so that they can tear that person apart. You know, not that the Yahweh Shai and the angels, they ain't going to feel shit because you ain't going to be able to hit them. But the bottom line is they're going to make you, the Most High is going to make you turn and fight against them. So the Most High right now is making you international bankers. Although you know you're going down, although the prophets are here telling you you're going down, he's making you do what you do. To be defiant, because the pride of your heart has deceived thee. Your pomp is going to be brought down to the ground. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, meaning to the grave, meaning down. And the noise of thy vials, meaning your music, this demonic music that you have, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, meaning you're going to your society and your kingdom is falling apart. And also worms represent death, because your new world order is going to die to death. It says, excuse me. It says, verse 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? So the word Lucifer there has a precept, number 8. And number 8 says, or O day star, the morning star. So how are you fallen from heaven, O Illuminati? How have you fallen from heaven, O enlightened ones? How have you fallen from heaven, O morning star? How have you fallen from heaven, O day star? You that was supposed to be so wise. That's why in Isaiah the 47th chapter it says, stand up now with thy enchantments and with thy monthly prognosticators to see if they can save you from what's coming. You're the enlightened ones, you know? You're the ones that so-called have the light. You know, you're the Lucifers of the planet. So what's up? How are you falling down? How is your society and your plans and your dreams come crashing? And that's what's going to bring your pomp down. It says, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Yeah, you weaken the nations, and now you going down, and no one is hindering you from going down. In fact, these same nations that helped you and were on your side and were allied to you, they're going to turn against you. Let's go first to the book of Obadiah. The book of Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Yeah, because you have a plan, and a part of your plan was to keep it secret. But a lot of this internet that was created by the Most High, giving it to these different individuals that created it, has shed too much light on your plans. That's why you have to keep switching and moving your plans forward, to a different time zone, because everything has been exposed. And you like to use the element of surprise because you want to be like the Most High. How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Yeah, because they're going to turn against you. And prevailed against thee. Yeah, because eventually they're going to get the upper hand over you. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So there's not going to be any understanding in you when your allies turn against you, or when your whole system collapses, because you just know that you have everything sewed up. You just know that you have everything together. But you're going down like a cheap slut. But the only difference is you ain't getting back up. This is the book of Revelation. You know what? Let me get in the other Bible. This one is having a hard time reading it because it's battle tested. So there's a lot of some of the words are like rubbed out. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Yeah, that's EU that has power with NATO now. These have one mind. There goes your new world order, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, because the beast, which is NATO and the EU, eventually are going to turn against America, even though America is part of that beast, part of that of NATO. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And the water, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes of nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And who is the whore? America. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So these nations that are confederate with you are going to turn against you and shoot missiles on you. Because remember, the scriptures say that your look was more stout than his fellows. So although you have helped them, although you are a military power, a military might, and they need you on their side to keep so-called order in that region, they're going to turn against you because they know all of the stuff that you did against them and how you shorthanded them and how you really didn't give a damn about them. But ultimately, even more than that, is going to be the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua in these nations. Because the 17th verse says, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And that's what it all boils down to. The prophecies being fulfilled. So when we go back to Isaiah 14 and 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which it is weakened nation, because your strength is going to be taken away. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. And you have done this. You have your planes and everything up in the heavens. And you also sit upon the mount of the congregation, which are the Israelites, in the sides of the north, which is what? North America. It says, I will ascend up above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And you're trying to be like the Most High by going into the heavens, by putting up your space stations up there, but also by creating artificial intelligence and trying to control and create humans like the Most High creates humans. But you can't capture the spirit. You can make an android to talk and, so-called have emotions of another individual, but you can never capture the spirit, because the Most High is the Father of spirits. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, meaning to the grave, down, destroyed, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? Because they're going to find out that the spiritual demon Satan on earth, the Satan on earth is Esau, the so-called white man. They are the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. And people are going to find that out. When you read Revelation, it speaks about that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. That's all speaking about you, the Edomites, you so-called white people, so you could understand. It says, that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms. Because who did that? You Edomites did that. You did that, okay? Inside joke. But you Edomites did that. You're the ones that drop bombs on people and cause the earth to shake. You made the world as a wilderness, as the scriptures say. And you will be that burnt mountain for doing that. As a monument or memorial to what it is to be wicked and what the payment or reward for being wicked is. So this place is going to be left as a memorial from the east coast to the west coast, and from the south to the north. It's going to be one big desert, the forbidden zone. It says that made the world as a wilderness, and you made the world as a wilderness. Look at the world. This was paradise at one time. Even America, when you devils got here, was paradise. And look at what it looks like now. It's torn the fuck up. It says, and destroyed cities thereof, and you've destroyed cities, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, so on and so forth, Tulsa, Oklahoma, you know, Rosewood, and different other places that Jake owned. You know, look at the what you did to Gad, the so-called North American Indians, how you destroyed their lands. The so-called Seminole Indians, tribe of Reuben, the so-called Issacharite Indians, tribe of Issachar, you know, the so-called Mexicans, and the rest of Canada and South America, Central America, the Caribbean islands. It says that opened not the house of his prisoners, because this is really dealing with the prisons of the mind. Because you had the ability to open up the prisons of the mind of Jake. But what did you do? Instead, you continually beat them so that they wouldn't know their heritage. You burned all the records that were written from, you know, Issachar and all the tribes, so that you can justify yourself saying that these people are barbarians, so we have to conquer them. And you couldn't believe, you thought that when you came here, you thought that you were going to encounter a bunch of barbarians. That's why you call them Indians. But what you encountered was a peace-loving people that had records and that had a culture, and they had, you know, they, even though they had wars among themselves, but they had a community, a culture. Some of them had records, written records. Some of them had advanced civilizations, and you came and destroyed them. So now you must be destroyed. It says all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, even everyone in his own house. Yeah, because the other nations, after they serve captivity, they're going to be set back up into their lands, and they're going to govern among themselves and their people, but they will still be tributary to us, and they will still have to follow our laws, statutes, and commandments. It says, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and like as a raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trod under feet. It says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned, because you'll never step foot or have power ever again to build up any civilization ever again. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, and this has not happened yet, but it will happen soon. That they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, and you will not be able to do that ever again. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. So Babylon the Great will be cut off. There will never be another inhabitant ever in this land. The only inhabitants that will be here are those desert creatures. I will also make it a possession for the bitter and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai of hosts. And this place will be totally annihilated by thermonuclear destruction and the lasers from the chariots. And this being your capital today, would be like Basra. This being your capital today, you know, once your capital is destroyed, everything else is going to fall underneath it. So going back to Jeremiah 50 and 22, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Because eventually this place is going to become the proverbial forbidden zone. The desert with no name, which used to be called America, which the scriptures call Babylon the Great. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. So you striven against the Lord. Your arms are too short to box with the Most High. You tried. You did run well. None did hinder you, but you came up super short. That's why the Lord weighed you in the balance, and you haven't found wanting. And now he's going to give you a serious spiritual boxing lesson. It says, the Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, which are what? Those missiles. That's another part of the Most High's military or army. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, which is modern day America. Come against her from the utmost border, because all of these nations that have missiles are going to shoot their missiles at you. Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, because you're going to be casted up as heaps. It says, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Nothing. The scripture said that there won't be a coal to warm at. You're going to go to her palaces where her nobles were, and you're not going to find anything. The line of confusion and stone of emptiness. You're not going to know where one state ended and another state started. You're not going to know where these so-called great monuments of America were. Anywhere. Because this place is going to be totally destroyed. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. It says, say all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. That's dealing with your military. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. All right. It says the voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord, our power, the vengeance of his temple. Because this is the vengeance of the Lord's temple. The controversy of Zion. See, you fucked up when you put your hands on us. Yeah, the Most High was pissed off with us. He gave us into your hands, but you didn't show no mercy. And the scripture say that he shall have judgment without mercy. That showed no mercy. You know them fucked up, right? It says, call together the archers against Babylon. And what are the archers? That means all the people, all these nations that have missiles. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work. And boy, you got a lot to pay for. According to all that she hath done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. Yeah, because you puffing yourself against the Lord. Don't puff yourself up, baby boy. Inside joke. Don't puff yourself up, baby boy. Therefore shall her young men fall on the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Because the Most High promised them birds a big feast of all these captains and these military men. They're going to be pecking out your eyes. They're going to be pecking out your tongue. They're going to be pecking through your nose when your nose gets cut off. They're going to be picking the mucus and your brains and everything. They're going to go to town, man. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. So this is the time when the Lord shall visit thee. And he is visiting thee with earthquakes and with hurricanes and with storms and with pestilence and with wars and with plagues. And eventually the missiles will drop. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. Why? Because now you're dazed. When you boxing somebody, you're hitting them, pow, pow, you're breaking them down, hitting them to the body, hitting them with hooks, all different kind of combinations. I ain't no boxer, but and then they hit you with that shot that has you like stumbling and fumbling, and they know they got you. The opponent knows he got you. Well, that's where you're at right now. You're stumbling and fumbling, and the Most High is about to give you that uppercut to finish you off. Finish him. And I will kindle a fire in the cities, and it shall devour all round about him. So you're finished, man. You're done through. All right. So pretty much that covers it. I had I think I covered all the precepts that I had on the list. But those are the precepts that came up when I saw that video. I mean, yeah, the video the brother sent me, and I say to water to you brothers, man, that send me stuff and information, and that's what we do. We send each other stuff, information, videos, articles, and those articles pretty much to kind of stir brother spirits, to do lessons, and that's a beautiful thing, So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. This place is finished. America's going down. All the signs are there. The writing is on the wall. You know, we you could say that this is the bottom of the ninth inning, or in championship boxing from back in the days, the end that we're going towards the last minute of the 15th round. You know, and this hoe done been knocked down a few times. She's in the corner right now. You know, dizzy, can't get her bearings, and the Most High is about to hit her with that one uppercut that's gonna send her to the stratosphere and destroy her. So with that, I'll say shalom.